call this June 30th, 2025 Board of Education regular meeting to order. George, can you take the roll?
Mrs. Bissell?
Here.
Mr. Griffin?
Here.
Mr. Miko?
Here.
Ms. Stachek?
She's delayed, personal issues, and she's hoping to be here by 7.
And Mrs. Hausum?
Here.
We have 4. We have a quorum.
Great. If we could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Right. We do have need for executive session to consider the employment of a public employee. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Michelle, second by Kevin. George, can you take the roll?
Mrs. Bissell?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mrs. Hausum?
Yes. Motion carries. We will resume public session at 7, and we will enter into executive session at 6:23. We'll resume public session at 7:13 p.m. Next on our agenda are strategic priorities. Our district has developed and is currently engaged in a 3-year strategic plan which reflects the values, beliefs, and hopes of our students, staff, parents, and community. There are 4 strategic priorities to the plan: transforming teaching and learning, aligning staff and resources, cultivating culture and climate, and leveraging funding and facilities. Our strategic priorities give actionable focus to our district's purpose and mission and guide the work of our strategic plan. Next, I'll turn it over to Dr. Ryba for recognitions.
Thank you, Mrs. Hausum. We do not have any student achievement recognitions tonight during the summertime. So at this time, we do have some outstanding recognitions from our PTA partners. So I'm going to bring up our new PTA Council President, Katie Drake, to get us going with the recognitions tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I am here to recognize someone who won our Helping Hands Award, Mrs. Gorey. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with the Helping Hands Award, but it's something we give out, and each unit actually will nominate someone from each school, pretty much. So we're excited to be able to say Mrs. Gorey was our winner, and we're so blessed to have her at Sarar. So I'm going to give a little bit as to why she got it, as the nomination that was written, and then I will present it with her. And I won't take up too much time. I know we're on a time crunch here. Today we have the privilege of honoring someone who truly embodies the heart, soul, and steady helping hands of our incredible Mrs. Gorey. To know Mrs. Gorey is to know kindness, dedication, and a quiet strength that holds the school together. She is, without a doubt, the backbone of our building. She is the first smile you see when you walk through the doors and the steady presence who ensures that every student, every teacher, and every family feels seen, supported, and welcomed. The students say it best. Mrs. Gorey is kind. She helps people. She always shows up. She never gives up. She keeps the school organized. That is very true. She slays, and perhaps our personal favorite, she's global. From helping teachers with stuff, to getting packages delivered, to knowing who needs a water bottle, a kind word, or an extra smile on a hard day, Mrs. Gorey seems to know everything and everyone. She's always respectful, always helpful, and always very, very nice. And our staff couldn't agree more. They describe Lynn as the Wonder Woman of the school, juggling 100 tasks at once while still managing to offer a warm smile and listening ear. One team member put it perfectly: she is the glue that holds us all together. Another shared how, even during their first interview, Miss Lynn's kindness and welcoming spirit helped calm their nerves and make them feel at home. What sets Mrs. Gorey apart is her deep sense of responsibility for our school community. She's not only the keeper of information and logistics, but she's also the keeper of our school's spirit. She knows when to jump in and help, when to offer encouragement, and when to simply be present for someone in need. Her attention to detail, her ability to anticipate problems before they happen, and her willingness to go the extra mile every single day make her irreplaceable. She's also been an incredible support to our PTA, always willing to make copies for our meetings, lend a hand setting up events, and help organize deliveries. No task is ever too small or too large for Lynn. She's often the quiet force behind the scenes, making sure everything runs smoothly, and does it all without ever expecting recognition or thanks. Even more than what she's done, leaves the lasting impression. Her care is genuine, her service is selfless, and her love for the school is unmistakable. Whether she's helping a student who forgot their lunch, supporting a teacher through a stressful day, or offering reassurance to a nervous parent, I was that parent at one point, Lynn shows up fully every time with compassion, grace, and strength. Mrs. Gorey, your dedication, your compassion, and your unwavering presence make Soror stronger, safer, and full of heart. You are our guiding light, our superhero, and our dear friend. On behalf of every student, every staff member, and every family you've touched, we are so grateful for you. Congratulations on receiving the Helping Hands Award. There's no one more deserving. That's it? Oh, we do, come shake hands, that's right.
Be careful, don't fall. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, then.
And Katie, I think you're going to
Keep going?
keep going.
You're not getting rid of me yet.
Not yet. So why don't you keep going with the volunteer hours for last school year?
Okay. I'm going to go into my other speech now, so it's not as long as that one. I don't have as many nice things to say about. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I am Soror PTA's president, as well as the president-elect of Strongsville Council PTA for the coming school year. I am here tonight on behalf of Council PTA and the 9 units that serve the children, parents, and schools of Strongsville. During this past year, the PTAs in Strongsville have been able to provide an extraordinary amount of enrichment activities for our children. Some legacy programs and many, many new ones. They include book fairs, carnivals, preschool prom, family movie nights, holiday shops, family math and science nights, after prom bingo, and the list goes on and on. We have worked with staff members and community leaders through the DARE program and the Strongsville Education Foundation. Additionally, we have provided tens of thousands of teachers and school grants, improved playground equipment, and organized numerous staff appreciation events. At the council level, we have continued to host our SMS Rocks, providing $9,000 in donations and grants to our units district-wide, and awarded $5,000 in scholarships to this year's graduating seniors. In February, we celebrated our annual Founders Day program by recognizing 10 individuals that go above and beyond for the betterment of our students and our school district. This year, I'm happy to report that all these combined efforts resulted in 14,895 hours of volunteer service, given by our PTAs for the benefit of the children, staff, and schools of Strongsville. Thank you to the board and our school administrators for giving us the opportunity to work with you and to make a positive contributions to our children's education experiences. Thank you, guys. It really is a joy to work with all of you, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys in the next 2 years that I am council president.
Katie, if you want to come shake everybody's hand in recognition, yes.
It's a whole.
I know, but you're the representative. Thank you. All right. Katie, thank you so much for being here tonight. Congratulations to Mrs. Glory. It sounds like a very well-deserved award. Thanks for all you do for Sarar. And Katie, I am super impressed. You are president of 2 units at the same time. That is not something that I have on my PTA resume.
Oh, no, not two at the same time. I was just.
You were at Sarar and now you're council. Okay, all right. I thought you were trying to one-up me there. Well, again, it's one of the things I miss the most about my kids not being in school is PTA. So thank you guys for all that you do. I know you've got some fellow PTA parents with you, so thank you. All right. Next on the agenda is our presentation.
Yeah, we don't have any public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I completely skipped that. There are no public comments
Okay.
tonight.
So yes, I'm going to ask Mayor Persiak to come to the podium. One of the things that I've been blessed with during my entire superintendency is great partnerships, and there's been no better partner with me than Mayor Persiak. We've been on each other's side for all the work that we've done in the city and the schools, and that partnership has made a positive difference for our community and our kids. And so part of that is consistent communication, work, and collaboration. And the mayor and I have an opportunity to connect on a regular basis. And so we've been keeping him up to date about the work that we're doing as a school district. Obviously, we've had some levy defeats as of late that's going to cause some financial challenges, more financial challenges on the forefront with the budget. But facilities is what we're here to talk about tonight. And as we take a look at our school district and the future of our school district and the needs for preschool and elementary schools, as well as other performing arts and athletic facility improvements, I've shared that information with the mayor and wanted to give him an opportunity to come meet and share his thoughts with the board from a city's perspective on this proposed bond project in May of 2026. So, Mayor, thanks for being here tonight.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I know most everybody except Mr. Griffin. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And Dr. Ryba and Mrs. Pelko, I have to say I kind of enjoyed watching both of you come to where you're at. And Dr. Ryba, from the days I knew your family from Garfield Heights yet to today, and Mrs. Pelko from the days of the bank yet, and I can go on and on and on with most everyone. But my job here, or what I'm here today to really talk about, of course, is our schools. And the success of our schools has a direct correlation on the vibrancy and the value of our community. Whether you have students in our district or not, we are all impacted by the success of our district, of our school district. Through your roles as educators, teachers, and everything else, we help increase the quality of life for all of our students. The Strongsville School District does an amazing job of educating all of our students within our community. Some of our students are extremely gifted and enroll in honors curriculum in our schools. These students often go on to attend elite universities and come back to our community as successful professionals and future leaders. Other students may be born with learning disabilities and need strong intervention. When I first moved to Strongsville, my oldest son, was hearing impaired. And at that time, we didn't have the schools or the ability to educate our hearing impaired students here. But I was able to reach out to our school board members and reach out, and yes, you helped provide for my son a good education. And he was able to learn to lip read and move on in this world and provide for himself and do things. And this is where I'm saying other students born with disabilities need strong intervention. And you guys did that. You don't know that, but you did. And I'm thankful to your predecessors, and I'm thankful to everyone in this room, because without their help, he wouldn't be where he is today. And because our schools have had a proper funding, they've been able to provide students with the resources they need to succeed, to turn students with learning challenges into true success stories, and valuable participants in the future workforce. This is the type of work being done here in our schools each and every day, meeting students at their ability levels and helping them overcome challenges and maximize their potential. But the importance of our schools goes beyond education. As residents and homeowners of our schools districts, the success of our schools impact our largest investment, and now the banker side's coming out in me, our homes. Whether you plan on selling your home in 10 days, 10 months, 10 years, the success, 10 years, the success of our school district will impact the marketability and the value of our homes. And that can be documented each and every day. Families want to relocate to cities with highly rated school districts and will pay a premium to live in the community, that displays excellence in academic performance and maintains quality school facilities. The excellence within our school district, along with our city's exceptional safety forces and financial stability, have benefited our residents for decades. But we must continue to support our schools, and we cannot forget that at the end of the day, some math equations, strong schools equal strong property values, and strong property values equal greater resale values. You know, as I looked through the presentation that Superintendent Ryba presented to me, and I went through the numbers, George, and I looked at just to build 3 new schools and renovate 2 others, it's $137 million. That's quite a challenge for anyone and for any system to endure. As we go through this process together, I hope, we need to address the efficiencies and the economies of scale as it applies to all of our new facilities. We really need to take a strong look at that. And then we need to also understand what is the potential savings as a result of these renovations. I guess in some of the presentations you've been having, the new roofs on the older buildings, et cetera, et cetera. We need to start calculating all these numbers into this mix and make sure that the public, our residents, our voting residents, are aware of exactly what all that is. And then the other thing is what's the timeline for all this? The sooner we get a timeline out there for what we're going to do, the easier it's going to be for all of us to jump on board and help sell this package. Because I truly believe in my heart that if we ask the public in this community to build buildings that are going to educate our students and provide for them a safe environment, they will deliver, because in the end, their kids get educated, there's a safe environment, and at the end, their home is worth more money. And what's anybody's biggest investment? Their home. So I'm just saying we need to get a timeline on this so all of us can get out there and sell this project. And the other thing is, George, you know, as soon as you know, and maybe you can share with me, what the appetite is in the bond market and how you plan on structuring this. Are you going to do 1, 2, 3? How are you going to do it? Any idea?
No, we haven't gone to that.
Well,
meeting,
as soon as you do, if
Right.
you could inform me, and then, you know, all these naysayers, I can help a little bit.
we'll do.
I'll encourage their hearts, you might say. Did I say that right, Mrs. Pelko? Okay. And I've done some of the math on this, and we need to actually not break this down as to what it's going to cost, you know, per year, per home. We actually need to break this down as to what it's going to cost per day to educate our kids in new facilities, and weigh this against so many other obstacles that come in our way, and weigh this against the type of education our kids are going to get here versus, God bless you, versus a private school. We have the very best here, and I'm here to support wherever I can and to work with you and to help build these new facilities and to help renovate our facilities and to work with you, George, in any which way I can with your advisors and anyone else. I'll be happy to take any questions if that's what you want. If not, I'm on your side.
Does anyone have any questions for Mayor Persiak? Comments?
Just thank you for being here.
Oh, please.
Want to thank you as well and look forward to working with you in a positive outcome in May.
And we're going to have to really buckle down and get it out there, but we will. Just one last thing. I am walking the neighborhood with a certain granddaughter, and I am learning firsthand what the people in this community want, because what they tell me as mayor is one thing, but what they're telling us for someone seeking a school board seat is a totally different thing. And we have a lot of work to do. And I don't know how we get some of this done, how we educate the public any better, but whatever we can do, we want to do, because we want to make Strongsville a better place for all of us. And thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for being here. We appreciate your time and collaboration and partnership.
Great. Next on our agenda is approval of minutes. Motion to approve the minutes of the June 5th, 2025 Special Board of Education meeting and our June 12th, 2025 work session meeting. All audio recordings will be a permanent part of the minutes and are available upon request through the Treasurer's Office. Video recordings shall be maintained based on the availability of the selected digital online platform. Next, we'll turn it over to George for his Treasurer's Report.
Thank you, Mrs. Hausum. I have a series of items for your consideration tonight, mostly surrounding our fiscal year end close, which is the last day of the fiscal year is today. So a lot of these reports are to send to the county. And then our fiscal year open, which our fiscal year begins tomorrow, July 1st. But before I get into any of these items, I just kind of want to give an update to the community and to the board to where we are in the state budget process. So currently the state budget is with the governor. Earlier this month, the Senate released their version, which went into a conference committee, which concluded last week, and it was sent to the governor. And I believe the governor has until tonight to either sign the bill or veto any items within the bill. The items that impact the school district are the following. The first is the cash carryover. The amount that was ultimately settled on was 40% cash carryover going into effect with the current fiscal year that's ending today. The House version was 30%. The Senate version was 50%. So they settled on in the middle with 40%. We will end the fiscal year with $45.9 million in cash, which is a 52% cash carryover. So $10.1 million over the allowed 40% carryover is at stake. If the governor does not veto this legislation, the county could reduce our tax collections by $10.1 million in calendar year 2026. As part of the legislation, we can submit a plan to the county by October 15 to reserve those funds for permanent improvements, which ultimately they'll have to approve as well. House Bill 335, that was the tax relief bill, which included the elimination of inside millage. This didn't make it into the state budget through the conference committee. However, it's still a bill that's out there on its own. It's currently in the House Ways and Means Committee, and it still has the potential to move through at a later date, but not part of the state budget. Part of this House Bill 335 includes the elimination of inside millage, which represents $12 million to the school district. And then state foundation funding. This one's actually positive news compared to the other items. Although the House version was harmful to the district, the Senate version was beneficial to the district. What came out of the conference committee was a little lesser than the Senate version, but ultimately it came out beneficial to the school district. We're going to receive a $810,000 increase over the 2 years to what was forecasted in November. Of that $810,000, $333,000 will receive an increase in fiscal year 26 and $476,000 in fiscal year 27. And lastly, the 15% administrative costs, which began in the House version, was kept in the Senate version, and ultimately remained in the conference committee remained. That is that we can't exceed 15% of our budget for administrative costs. However, within the budget, there was no legal consequences for that. What appears, and from what we're gathering, nothing official yet, but it could just be a possible management letter comment within our state audit that we've exceeded this threshold. Don't know where we're at for this year yet, but at the end of last fiscal year, we were about a little over 14%. So we could be close, but as our budget increased, we could hover around that 15%. Any questions on the state budget? That portion of it? Because I've been watching the news. As of now, there hasn't been anything yet. The governor's supposed to have a press conference tomorrow going over what he vetoed and didn't veto, but hopefully something comes out tonight of at least what it was. And then kind of just giving a highlight on our financials. As we're closing out fiscal year 25, for the first year we deficit spend this year, expenditures were greater than revenues by approximately 3.2 to 3.4 million, given a range because we still have interest to post and we won't find what our monthly interest was until tomorrow morning. We're ending the year, as I mentioned, with a cash balance of 45.9 million to 46.1. And total revenues totaled 86.4 to 86.6 million, while expenditures were 89.8 million. And then as we start fiscal year 26, beginning July 1, revenues are estimated to be about 84.8 million, while expenditures are estimated to be about 94.7 million, which will result in deficit spending of $9.9 million. Next year will be the first full year that the renewal levy is completely off the books. It was a half a year this year. The second half comes in next fiscal year, as our fiscal year overlaps 2 calendar years. That's why the halves. And the projected cash balance at the end of next fiscal year is estimated to be 36.2 million or 38.2%. And the 9.9 million deficit spending and the ending cash balance of 36.2 does not include any reductions that couldn't be impacted from the state budget. So those would be in addition to if that were to happen. So moving on to the items listed in my report. Item H1 is the financial report for the month ending May 31st, 2025. Item H2 is the Strongsville Education Foundation grant approvals for transportation for elementary field trips for grades 6, 7, and 8, and field trips in preschool in the elementary for all grades except third. The third grade field trip is the Historical Society, which has been an ongoing district initiative. The total amount, the transportation totaled $25,374.75 from the Strongsville Education Foundation. Approval for new funds, H3, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that a new fund for the Ohio Attorney General's fiscal year 25 school safety grant be approved for miscellaneous state grants. And the grant approval, item H4 of $24,768.25 will be the continuation of cameras that the operations manager has been installing. Item H5, year-end advances and transfers. Kind of give a quick summary of what those are. This is an annual resolution adopted at the end of the fiscal year. It must cover, the general fund must cover negative cash balances and other funds. You will see the exhibit that it's related to student activity and other funds. The transfer for negative balances, a transfer of $61,525 is needed to cover deficit in the Uniform School Supplies Fund of Fund 9. The Termination Benefits Fund, a transfer of $716,660 is needed to cover the severance payments within Fund 035. The transfer will bring the cash balance within the fund of $500,000, which is about the annual spend of severance payments. And then the Middle School and High School Athletics Fund, a transfer of $176,000 is needed to cover a shortfall within the athletics funds, which is $22,000 less than what was budgeted at the beginning of the school year. And then our annual transfer for turf savings. When we began turf, we would transfer $35,000 annually to the turf fund, which would be the cost to maintain the grass fields. And then our 10-year agreement with the turf sponsorship of Southwest Fees as they reduce their fees on a sliding scale to go to the turf fund, a transfer of $18,480.63. And then a transfer to close out a student activity fund. The STEM Club, the 29902, 200 fund is a student-managed student activity. That is being closed out and being transferred to the Engineering Club, which is a 300 student activity, which is a district-managed. Those two student activities are just consolidating. That's why the transfer. Rather than have one, they're just having two, and we're going to repurpose the name of the Engineering Club to the STEM Club, but as a district-managed. And lastly, we had a 300 athletic programs, which is separate from the athletic funds. This was for a handful of years ago. The athletic director created this for specific fundraising to go towards various athletic programs. We're just running those now out of the athletic program. So there's $13 remaining to transfer that into the 018 as based on their budget and goals. That's where it would go in the principal's budget or the principal's 018 fund. Lastly, advances. Advances are needed to cover negative cash balance within federal funds. Federal grants are reimbursable grants, meaning the expenditures must take place first prior to being reimbursed. During the year, this usually is a month lag. For the end of the fiscal year, we will not get the remaining amounts due until October, when the final expenditure reports are filed in September. The federal grant years are September through August. The advances will be repaid to the general fund in October, November, when the grants are reimbursed. And those totaled $87,278. Any questions so far? Nope. Going back to the agenda, item H6, the final permanent appropriations for fiscal year 25. H7, approval of new funds for fiscal year 26. These are all the new grant funds. Each grant year has its own fund number, so it's creation of the federal funds grant numbers, and also the freshman class, the upcoming freshman class, so the class of 2029 for their student activity account. Item H8, these are all the proposed budgets for fiscal year 26 for all the student activity accounts that are listed within the exhibit. Item H9, these are the temporary appropriations for fiscal year 2026, beginning July 1st. We have until September 30th to approve an annual appropriation to be submitted to the county. Typically, what I've done in the past with the temporary appropriations is keep the non-salary lines at 100% and the salary and benefits at 50% to adjust for hiring throughout the summer and any new contracts that we would need. However, based on carryover balances and showing the need for funds, this year I just kept that at 100% of the funds to be submitted to the county to not cause any confusion with any cash carryovers or expenses that may be needed. H10, the athletic event ticket pricing for the upcoming school year. The ticket prices have remained the same for the individual game tickets. However, for the athletic live streaming events, the athletic department is recommending that we remove the paywall. Ever since we brought on the payroll, they've seen a decline in viewership, which was harder to get sponsorship. So Jason has a plan to hopefully increase viewership, which would he can gain sponsorships that would defray the cost. And lastly, this requires its own vote, is the annual renewal of the food service management company contract for Chartwell's. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that the contract between Strongsville City Schools and Compass through its Chartwell's division for the management of the district's food service program be renewed effective July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Stavcek, second by Mrs. Bissell. George, you said this is an annual, we vote on this every year?
Yeah, so the way our contract is, we have to go out to RFP once every 5 years, and then there are annual renewals within those 5 years to maintain the contract.
Any questions or comments for George? All right. Can you take the roll?
Ms. Stavcek?
Yes.
Mrs. Bissell?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mrs. Hausum?
Yes. Motion carries.
And if there's no further questions, that concludes my report.
Any other questions for George? All right.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll let us know as soon as that state budget comes out.
Yeah, I'm hoping I have an alert set to my phone on a certain reporter.
Yeah, all right.
I think we're okay with the inside knowledge.
Yeah, that's not included. It's,
Between us, $20 million.
right,
Did a lot of
That's-
lobbying for us.
yeah, so that's still that's not dead in the water yet, is it?
I was told it's dead.
Okay, that's good,
Good news.
right. Fingers crossed.
All right, if there's no more questions for George, I'll turn it over to Dr. Ryba.
Thank you, Mrs. Hausum. The two discussion items are looping back from discussions we had at our last meeting. So the first one is in terms of Sarar mobile classroom units, and the discussion was based on prior board direction of not having students have their entire grade out there. We came back to you because of space issues at Sarar and transition times and the data that's been shared, that Emily and I support would like to have the ability to have fifth grade, all three fifth grade classrooms out in the mobile units. The board had a series of questions and feedback requests, and those have all been shared with the board, and they've had time to review those. So at this time, Ms. Hausum, I'll turn it back over to you to see if there's any other information needs that you have, or the board is ready to give consensus on what we could do at Sarar.
Who would like to start with questions, comments? All right. I mean, for me, I looked at it, and I looked at the transition time and how many minutes that they were losing, and to me, it was, from my perspective, I felt like we're better off to have the classes outside. That's just from my perspective.
I felt like that data was also overwhelming when you look at the numbers, and I shared this with Emily when I saw her last week. It is staggering. I do have some ongoing concerns about what it looks like to have all three fifth grades outside. What does it mean for their being included in the school building, and what is it? Just there are ongoing concerns. I think you probably know what they are. I expect we'll problem solve as we go. So I guess, despite my concerns, I think we have to try and see if it eliminates the major concern, which is this number that's large in terms of minutes of educational time lost.
I feel like at the end of the day, none of us want kids in mobile units.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to solve with building new buildings. We want to get away from these mobile units. It's not ideal, it's not, the best
Right.
learning environment for our students, but we're out of options. Does any other questions, comments?
I just want to say thank you to Emily, since
Yeah.
she's here, for compiling this data for us so that we could make a fully informed decision about this.
Yes, we appreciate the time you put into it and the realization that we're losing that many instructional minutes. It's staggering. So hearing no other comments, or I think
I
you
would,
have.
the only 2 cents I would like to add is I think we need to be clear that if, regardless of our best intentions, if we discover that there is something that was unforeseen or what have you, it's not a full year decision. We can always make a decision at some point to course correct. Other than that, nobody's approaching this without trying to mitigate bad circumstances as best we can. Everything, I don't look at this as a right or wrong decision. I look at it as making the best decision. And, Emily and the teachers are as close to it as possible, so I trust and am confident that they're making a good decision. But sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So if we need to course correct, I wouldn't want to find out we're sticking to it for a year unnecessarily.
Cameron, can I share just publicly for parents
Sure.
who might be concerned? There's
Yeah.
a list of concerns that have been raised through the survey and through other parent involvement that are already being addressed, which I think is fantastic. And the one that I asked about with the headaches, I have since followed up, and that particular parent felt like the noise sound was the cause of the headache, and there was already a plan to put acoustic sound panels in those classrooms to help bring some of that noise, the volume down. But there are some others, ice and rain concerns. Awnings are already in the works to be placed outside to reduce rain and ice impact during transitions. We've had some issues with heating and cooling, with breakers. Those things have been fixed. We have had leaking ceilings, and Will Scott is the company that rents us the mobile units. They come out and fix them as needed. Walking into the building for restrooms has been challenging and might be an ongoing challenge, but the plan is to schedule times specifically into the day that won't disrupt learning for those students. And then safety with those transitions is kind of an ongoing thing, but there are things that we're doing already. There's radios, office staff watch the students on cameras, teachers are with them as much as possible, and then there's additional camera systems that they've set up. So these are things we already recognize as problems. They're already being addressed. And as we shared before, if there are continued problems, we'll problem solve as we go to make this the least painful that it can be, knowing it's never going to be ideal. So thank you for those of you who have worked on, there's a number of you in this room that have worked on creating these solutions, so thank you.
All right, so I think you have consensus to move forward.
Thank you. The second item is following up on our supplementals discussion. As a reminder, Jenny and a team meet each year to review our supplemental contracts to keep them up to date. There were two that they're recommending to be included for this upcoming school year, the National Science Honor Society and Girls Wrestling. And so, again, the board asked for some data. That data has been provided to the board for you guys to review. And so we're just looking for consensus on whether or not we can post these for the 25-26 school year or not. So I'll turn it back over to you, Laura.
All right. I'd love to hear everybody's input. So what do you guys, questions, thoughts on adding 2 new supplementals?
I think we should do it.
Yeah, I'm in favor of adding both of these positions, but I want to be respectful and understand the history of what has been shared in the past. So I think last meeting you all shared that there was some comment maybe 6 to 12 months ago. So I just want to make sure that we are respecting that. But I would certainly move forward with both of these rules.
So I'll offer the contrarian opinion. I think I don't have any issue with the programs or the supplementals. They're reasonable and they're worthwhile. During the discussion prior to the last levy, we indicated that we were going to forego cuts for 1 year, but that we were going to hold the line. And to me, this is the rub, that these are worthwhile activities, but part of our responsibility is to say no when it is correct to say no. And in this situation, I think the correct answer for me is to say no, not because they're not reasonable, not because they don't offer more opportunity to our students, but because we have very strong headwinds that we're all discussing, and we indicated to the community that we heard the no, and that was going to be our response. So I think it's important for me to honor that commitment, that we would hold the line on additional hiring, additional positions, et cetera. I've said it before, it's really easy to justify increasing spending, but in this situation, the diligence is to say no when it's appropriate and to continue to have that conversation.
Was that no net new positions, or is that no net new cost? So could you trade out?
And that's, Kevin, that's one of the things I grappled with.
Yeah.
There's lots of we were not that specific.
Yeah.
And for me, I would be concerned that someone will say you're twisting it so you can have your cake and eat it too. We said we were going to put a freeze on hiring. We didn't, you could argue that it's not an increase in cost or what have you. But at the end of the day, we said we were going to put a freeze on hiring, and I think this is one of those situations where I would suggest that now is not the time. In addition to the fact that George has already brought us the sobering news of perhaps $10 million if what I call the clawback occurs, and then another $12 million if the inside millage is eliminated. And, the one is a one-time, the other is every year. So I think until that's digested, it's prudent to pause.
When do we have to make a decision on these roles, or these roles? Is today's it?
Would it, okay.
Well, the posting, it just depends on, the posting gets things going, right? So National Honor Society is a year-long thing that would go. Girls wrestling obviously is seasonal, and so, but, our winter wrestling coaches have been posted, and so wrestling, I mean, we're getting close to both of those. What I would suggest is, if delaying the decision is because new information can bring to light new insights, then sure, we can wait to July to decide. But if there's not new information that's going to come, if we want to wait and see, hey, what is the budget? What does the governor veto? Come back on July 6th, whatever our next, July 9th, it's not going to make any difference. If that's the information piece that's going to make a decision for people.
Is it right to consider what is fair and what is just in terms of giving equal opportunities to our students? So is that to say that if we cannot offer girls wrestling, should we cut boys wrestling? If we don't do this honor society, should we cut something else that gives an opportunity for other children to do something that otherwise they wouldn't? Just because thinking about National Honor Society, thinking about wrestling, thinking about the scholarships that go along with it, that could be for college, that could be for opportunities with that, I don't feel it is fair to offer it to boys with boy wrestling. Now, I'm not saying I want to cut male wrestling, but I'm saying how do we offer it to them but not offer it to the girls? Whereas it's almost like a shortcoming of what we should have maybe offered it in the past, but we were late on the bandwagon to do it. National Honor Society, we had National Honor Society back in 2003 when I graduated. So depending on what
Haley?
that is, that's not really bringing back, if we're bringing back what something that existed.
Just as a point of clarification, because it's really important to me, it's the National Science Honor Society.
Right.
It's not, National Honor Society isn't up for discussion.
But there's other national, I don't know, just being other
There's
national.
social
different-
studies.
Social
You're right,
studies,
yes.
so should we
There
cut
are.
the other ones if there's kids that are successful in art, successful in social studies? Sorry to the kids who are successful in science, you don't get it. So should we cut the rest of them to make it equal for everybody? Or do we lopsided offer to some kids and not others? That's where I struggle with that, if we're being equal and offering the same opportunities to boys and girls, offering the same opportunities to those who excel in science as excel in social studies, who are audible learners, who are tangible learners. That's where I think the difference is between hiring new people and being equal and offering equal opportunities to all of our students.
Cameron, can I ask for clarification? Girls are currently wrestling, correct? They're just sharing the coach? Is that the setup?
They're acting as a club sport. So OHSAA just recently recognized girls wrestling as a sanctioned sport. So this past year, this is their second year.
Okay.
Their first year, they were just, a few girls were joining and doing their own thing with the guys' team. This year, we had a volunteer coach, and they competed against other schools, kind of like boys volleyball, if you remember. So they've shown enough sustainable growth to where they could be sanctioned as a sport by us to pay for the coach. Now, George, I think, if I remember, Jenny, in your conversation, the district was already covering some of these costs, correct?
They were covering some of the officiating costs and event costs as they were being held at the same time with the boys program.
Yeah.
They were just putting another mat out there and just rotating the wrestlers.
So in order for this to be a sanctioned sport by OHSAA, we have to hire the coach. We cannot have a volunteer coach and also have it be an official OHSAA?
I'm going to say what I think, and I'm not 100% sure because I'm not versed on all of those rules. OHSAA sanctioned sports are just saying, we recognize this in the state of Ohio as a sport that has tournament play and all of that. So for us, the coach is just saying, we are officially offering this as a district sanctioned sport versus a club sport is really not affiliated with us. It's kind of a gray area, but this would be an official district sanctioned sport.
So as of now, they cannot compete in those tournaments, or they can?
They can. It's hard to, I don't know, jump in if you could say it more clearly than I'm saying it, but
So, yeah, I mean, based on what they shared with me, Denny and Jason, is that in 2022 is when OHSAA officially recognized girls wrestling. So when I'm looking at what they competed in, I'd have to double check, but again, it's the state tournament that they are allowed to compete in.
They are or not?
They would be, for
But
sure.
they
I have to
currently
check
are
and
not.
see if they,
They
So-
competed this year.
what?
Yeah.
They
They
did this
competed
year.
this year,
Yeah, yeah, they did compete, yeah.
Okay.
if I'll try one more time to see, maybe I'll confuse things even more, but the attempt is there.
Hoping.
So in theory, if you're a club sport, you can use our facilities, you could do your thing, but you as the coach, if I'm the coach of that club sport, I'm scheduling the games, I'm organizing transportation, I'm taking care of the funding and the money and the uniforms and all of that stuff. And the district is saying, we're going to watch you, and we're going to see, can you get kids to participate? Can you have sustainable growth? And if you get to that point, we're going to say, okay, we're going to pay for the coach. We're going to take on all of the scheduling, all of the uniforms, all of that stuff, because you're a viable sport that's going to live on, and now you're an official Strongsville High School sport. We did it with lacrosse. Lacrosse had a big community group that supported that. We did it with boys volleyball. We had a teacher that said, I want to have a boys volleyball team. If you look at so those are examples where it has started as a club. So they're still considered Strongsville kids and a Strongsville team, but in practice, it's a coach that's volunteering his or her time to do their own thing to help a sport grow, with the benefit of one day the district will take on the financial components of it and the management of it.
And can I add one thing that I think?
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong. If it's a sanctioned sport for Strongsville, those girls will be eligible to letter and have that letterman jacket, where if it's a club
otherwise
sport,
they can't.
they can't do that.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
So that is the one difference in terms of opportunity,
Yes.
because that's
Yes.
otherwise the opportunity still exists, to Haley's point.
Right.
It's just a lot of the burden falls on a volunteer,
Correct.
all of the burden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we may lose good volunteers who work full-time jobs and do other
Overtime,
things
yes.
and not build that program up the way we should.
I mean, I thought a lot about it over the past couple of days, and I get it. I totally understand, we're looking at unsettling times financially. But I also look at that we hired a patient navigator. We're ratifying, a contract for our support staff. And to me, this directly affects our students.
And it's not even coming up with something brand new. We have girls wrestling right now. We've shown that it's viable. We've shown that it's growing. It's not, hey, let's see what we can put together and let's throw some money into it and hope that maybe we can get people that are interested in it. We actually have people that are doing it already. So it's not creating something new and hiring something new that doesn't exist. And it seems like a lot of words get twisted in the community level anyways, as it is. So things that are on paper look differently the way people read them. As far as I'm concerned, girls wrestling is already existent, and in order to make it fair and equal to boys wrestling, it's something that we need to do.
I think you have your three.
Well, and I was gonna say, if we want to wait and see what the state budget looks like, if Cameron and Jenny are okay with, we meet again next Thursday, it's completely whatever the will of the board.
Yeah, I asked a question about waiting based on maybe some information received tonight, but
Right.
at the end of the day, it sounds like it's a principal question relative to the word that this body provided to the community. without the foresight of these types of roles, right? My assumption was that the hiring freeze would have been on larger, more expensive roles as opposed to something like this. So from a principal standpoint, it's not going to change regardless of inside millage or not. So with that stated, I think we could go ahead and vote because nothing else is going to change from that standpoint. At least that's where I sit from my point of view. I don't know, Rich, if you feel differently.
No, you pretty much have my opinion.
Yeah.
Clearly. I mean, the headwinds just make me more cautious, but for me, it goes back to our original statement. Whether we get great news or not, I don't anticipate changing my position.
But the good news is, you didn't make that original statement.
You know, I love this position.
You weren't there when that original statement was made, so you would just
That's
start
right.
today
Yeah,
of what you wanted
yeah,
to do.
absolutely. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, do you want to pull it for a vote?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
You have three.
Okay.
So we have the three consensus to, and then move forward. And so what happens next is HR will post this, and then you will officially vote on it once the employees are identified and put on a future agenda. Okay? Thank you for that discussion as well. The final item under my section is the contingency calendar. So this just says, hey, if we run out of minimum hours, if we exceed our minimum hours, that we would have students come to school on additional days, and those are listed there. In the last 10 years, we've never had to use those, so it's just
Please don't say that out loud.
Knock
I know,
on wood
right?
right now.
I just
I'd like
jinxed
to
it.
vacation that
Yeah,
next year, so
right?
please.
Any questions on my report? All right, with that, I'll bring up Steve to give his updates for business services.
Good evening, everyone. A few items in the business services section. The first one is a renewal of district insurance. This insurance covers everything: property, inland marine, boiler, machinery, crime, automobile, general liability, and umbrella insurance. We are purchasing it from Liberty Mutual, as we've done in the past. The agent is Todd & Associates, an Alera Group company, and it's endorsed by the Ohio Schools Council, of which we're a part. One-year contract price not to exceed $565,670 for the period of July 1 through July 1, 2025 through July 1, 2026, which will include all the groups that I'll mention here. Last year's cost, for your information, was $509,800.60. Also, by the recommendation of the superintendent, that the board recognizes the following groups as authorized school groups that are in the district, and they will be covered by our insurance policy. It includes Strongsville Council of PTA, Strongsville High School PTA, Strongsville Middle School PTA, Chapman Elementary PTA, Kinsner Elementary School PTA, Maraski Elementary School PTA, Sarar Elementary School PTA, Whitney Elementary PTA, Strongsville Early Learning Preschool PTA, Strongsville Early Childhood Preschool PTA, After Prom Committee, Strongsville Booster Club, Strongsville Hockey Association, Strongsville Music Boosters, the Choral Division, and the Instrumental Division. And that is attached. The second item is the recommendation of the superintendent that the monthly school resource officer reimbursement be approved for the exhibit. The third item is a payment in lieu of to a student that is being transported to a educational site that we've declared impractical to travel to for all the reasons stipulated in the Ohio Revised Code. That student is listed there with the appropriate school. And then the last section this evening are gifts. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the following gifts be approved. The Friends of the Library, a volunteer group of Strongsville branch of the Cuyahoga County Public Library, donated library books to be valued at $32.75 to Kinsner Elementary School. Skip the second one right now, George? Is that right?
I'm sorry?
The gift, there
No,
needs to be a
go
roll
ahead.
call, correct?
Go ahead, it's just the whole section is going to be a whole vote.
Pardon?
So continue on, the whole section is going to be a.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Reverend and Mrs. Curtis Bissell, through the Thrivent Action Teams Program, donated $500 to be put towards an in-house field trip for moderate intensive students. Chapman and Soror Elementary Schools each received $250. And the following donations were made to the Strongsville High School DECA program. Strongsville Rotary Club, $500. Strongsville Chamber of Commerce, $2,000. Strongsville Optimist Club, $250. And the Kiwanis Club, $750.
Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Stavcek, second by Mr. Griffin. Can you take the roll?
Ms. Stavcek?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mrs. Hausum?
Yes.
Mrs. Bissell?
Abstain.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Steve. Next, we'll have Aaron come up with the curriculum report.
Good evening. I have 10 items tonight for your consideration under the curriculum report. First item is a field placement affiliation agreement with John Carroll University. The second is a pre-student and a student-teacher placement. The third item tonight is a student-teacher internship placement. Item 4 is textbooks for our College Credit Plus. Item 5 is an interpreting service agreement with Cross Thread Solutions. And then items 6 through 10 are our annual student handbooks that we approve. So we have early learning, elementary, middle, high school, and the high school athletic handbook. Thank you.
Any questions for Aaron? All right, thanks, Aaron. Andy is enjoying a vacation right now, so I will take care of his report. So under his section, under number 1, to admit tuition-free admission for this upcoming school year for a student that is a foreign exchange student coming from Germany. Under number 2, we have a recommendation to enter into a tuition excess cost agreement with Ed Alternatives for placement of a student with disability for the upcoming school year. And under number 3, still with Ed Alternatives for agreement for student transportation. This engages Ed Alternatives to provide transportation services for the students enrolled in Ed Alternative school locations for the upcoming school year. Any questions on the student service report? And next, I'll have Ryan come up with the human resource report.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I have the following items in human resources for your consideration. Item 1, resignation, non-certificated athletic supplemental contract. Item 2, appointments, certificated. Item 3, appointment, certificated athletic supplemental contract. Item 4, appointments, non-certificated athletic supplemental contracts. Item 5, appointments, testing consultants. Item 6, appointments, game workers. Item 7, additional time, summer, certificated. And item 8, volunteers, chaperones.
Any questions for Ryan?
Thank you.
And finally, I'll ask Dave to come up with the tech report for the month.
Good evening. I have 3 items tonight. The first one is for Sophos licensing. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approves a 3-year agreement with Central Intercept X Advance for endpoint and servers in the amount of $13,280. The coverage period for this contract starts July 15, 2025 and ends July 15, 2028. The next item I have on behalf of the athletic department is for Agile Sports or Huddle contract for the upcoming year. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that 1-year contract between Strongsville City Schools and Agile Sports Technologies, DBA Huddle, be approved for the purchase of a total athletic department package. This includes streaming athletic competitions and game stat analysis. The annual cost to be $26,000. And my third item tonight on behalf of the high school is with a rural business equipment for a lab. Be resolved upon a recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approves the purchase of 33 desktop PC replacements at the cost of $1,309 each to upgrade the industrial arts classroom at Strongsville High School. This enhancement will provide students and staff with updated technology that supports current software and industry standard applications. The total cost to Strongsville High School not to exceed $43,197.
Questions for Dave? And with that, that concludes my report.
Kevin?
Oh.
Good question for you, Dave. Was there an alternative for Huddle that was reviewed or submitted for?
There is a growing program. It's called Quick Cut. We did look into them. There are some issues we saw with them right now. As they continue to grow, they are becoming more of an alternative to Huddle. But right now with our conference requiring Huddle to be able to transfer videos through the Huddle package, that is something that is still limiting factor. Quick Cut is starting to do that, but it's not been truly established yet as one of their features. So maybe next year that's something we can look into more because they're promoting the ability to transfer film and import film from Huddle, but that's just a newer feature that one of the things we really didn't want to mess with right now is a growing thing when our conference requires it.
Yeah. And is that conference requirement, is that under review every year or two?
That I don't know. You have to talk to Denny or Jason about that. It is, I believe it's just one of the policies they voted on. But
Yeah, they have, we have conference meetings all the time, so I'm not sure how, I can find that out for you, Mr. Griffin, in terms of how often they review those things and the bylaws, so I'll get that information to you.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. All right. Next on the agenda, report on Polaris Career Center. Michelle.
Okay, it is summer in Polaris, as it is here, so things are a bit quieter aside from the hiring. They are busy finishing up the hiring. There have been lots of movement with new leadership there, so new positions opened up, some promotions took place. So all of those things are wrapping up, and they'll be ready to go for the fall. A couple successes to share. If you had a rising 6th through 8th grader, you had an opportunity for your child to participate in Camp Discovery. That was the second week of June, I believe. I had 2 of my kids go. They enjoyed themselves very much, and I have bread in my freezer that will last me for months. I think they came home with like 48 cinnamon rolls between the 2 of them. So we are enjoying all the tasty treats. But that was, they only brought this back post-pandemic. So since post-pandemic, they have now had 225 students this summer, which is capacity. Fantastic turnout. Kids had a great time. Thank you to all the staff that came. You know, they spend their time in the summer to help with these students and raise awareness about Polaris and about what careers are available to our students. So it's really a fantastic opportunity. Same week, they also tried a new program called White Coat Wonders, which was a shorter version, but a 3-day program for students in the biomedical program at the high schools. Also successful. It was the first year, so there are some kinks that they're going to work out for next year, but I had a son also participate in that. And he had a really interesting time getting to see different facilities. They toured Southwest, got to see some of the equipment available at Polaris. They toured a facility here in Strongsville. So thank you to our community partners who continue to step up and provide opportunities for our students. And then 2 other things just of note. One is I'm reading a lot of this from something new from our superintendent at Polaris. She sends out a Polaris superintendent newsletter to all our district superintendents to continue to build the relationships among our partner districts. So that's something fantastic, and Cameron's getting this information regularly. That will keep him, give him an opportunity to respond if there's any needs or things for our students. So that's one. And then secondly, I want to congratulate our first LPN program. So this is an adult program. They had their nursing pinning ceremony on June 26th. And I do know we had at least one, probably more than one Strongsville community member come through that program. And we also had 3 Polaris students from high school then go on to do this Polaris adult program. So it really is serving a need in our community, both for our community members, but also for local businesses. So congratulations to those students who are now working as LPNs. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Congratulations to them. Next, report on legislation. Rich and/or Michelle?
Well, all I was going to say is, I think George did a pretty good job, and I'm waiting with bated breath to see what the governor approves or vetoes. If you have more to say, please do.
Yeah, I was just going to add on to that. There's three things that I think the public should be paying attention to in Strongsville. One is, as George described, the Ohio budget. It is in Governor DeWine's hands. I'll be happy to report that I've been hitting refresh on the governor's website, and I have a feeling he'll sign it shortly before midnight, and he does have a press conference scheduled for tomorrow morning where he will discuss his line item vetoes. There was an interview with him over the weekend where it was reported he anticipates having some vetoes for the budget. He has vetoed a different number of line item vetoes in previous budgets, but he has vetoed something in every budget in his time as governor, and he anticipates that that wouldn't change either. The part for the school district that I think is key is he was directly asked about the 40% carryover, and his only response was that Ohio has a tradition and a history of local control, especially with school districts, and he doesn't see a reason to meddle too much in that tradition of local control. So hopefully that speaks well for tomorrow. But I think we're all waiting to see whether that 40% carryover is going to stay in the budget or not. I respect the idea that it is a way to address property tax increases. I don't, as a school board member and as a taxpayer, it strikes me as a little bit of robbing Peter to pay Paul. On the one hand, you're providing relief to property taxes, but you're not providing relief by holding the line. You're providing relief by taking from one budget to return it to another budget. And ultimately, that's not wise financial stewardship, and that's what I think we're all focused on. The second part that I think is critical for us is the inside millage. As Mayor Persiak said, he does believe that won't. I'm sorry, inside millage was not is not part of the budget. It is still part of HB 335. So although it's not currently in our radar, it's not disappeared. Inside millage is 20%, 20 mills. George, remind me of the breakdown between the city and the schools.
It's 10 mils, so 10 mils.
10 mills.
Ours is of that 10 mils, ours is 5.6. And I can't recall offhand how much the city has. It's also split between, the remaining amount is also split between the city, the county, and the metro parks. And I think Polaris possibly, and maybe the Port Authority. I'm not 100%.
Library.
The library.
So in any case, that's still on our radar, although it's not part of the biennium budget. And then the third leg on the stool is over the weekend or a little bit before it was announced that a judge in Franklin County did find that the current way we fund charter schools with vouchers is unconstitutional. So we'll wait and see how that plays out, but that is the currently that was found unconstitutional, and the state of Ohio has already responded that they will appeal that decision. But that, good, bad, or indifferent, is going to affect the school district. That completes my comments.
Thank you. Board liaison reports. City Council. City Council, this Friday is July 4th, so the city will be celebrating on the Commons from 6 to 9 p.m. They say bring the family out for some fun, inflatables, balloon artists, face painting, food trucks, and more. Fireworks will start at dusk on the Commons. Town Center Park will close at 8 p.m. because it's in the fallout zone for fireworks. But the Town Center and Rec Center parking lots will be open for firework viewing. The city offices in the rec center will be closed on Friday. There will be no trash pickup. Friday routes will be collected on Saturday. And I do believe that city council is in hiatus for July and August.
It is their recess.
Recess, thank you, thank you. But there is a special meeting in July. So we will keep you posted on that. That concludes the report, unless you have anything to add? Okay. Strongsville Education Foundation.
I have nothing to report this time.
Thank you. They are on summer break too. PTA Council.
The same is true for PTA Council, but I will acknowledge Katie again. Thank you for being here and presenting our volunteer hours. And also, just a general question, I'm noticing my name is Lonely here. Are we going to officially put Kevin in those roles, or are we going to shuffle, or do we have a plan for that?
We need to talk about that.
Okay.
There is no plan. So
Okay.
I will get a plan.
Okay, great. I mean, it doesn't matter so much right now because a lot of these things are on pause, but
Right.
soon enough, they won't be.
Before school starts, we'll have a plan.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks. Southwest General Hospital, there is no meeting to report on. Board committee reports, Finance Committee.
That is to be announced. Policy Committee to be announced.
Facilities Committee, we have our next meeting August 19th of 2025 at 6:30 PM here in the admin building. Business Advisory Committee.
Next meeting to be announced.
All right. Next on the agenda, we have the adoption of the consent calendar. Action by the Board of Education and adoption of consent calendar at this point of the agenda means that all items appearing in this agenda denoted as type-action consent, which items constitute the consent calendar, are adopted by one single motion unless a member of the board or the superintendent requests that such items be removed from the consent calendar and voted upon separately. Do we have any items to remove? All right. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Stavcek, second by Mrs. Bissell. George, can you take the roll?
Ms. Stalchek?
Yes.
Mrs. Bissell?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mrs. Hausum?
Yes. Motion carries. Next, we have board bylaws and policies. We have a second reading on the new revised policy 5223, release time for religious instruction. And we have a third reading for a slew of other policies. Any discussion on the policies?
You want to take a motion first?
Oh. Sorry?
Isn't this adoption? Is this adoption? Third reading? Yeah.
It is? Okay, I'm sorry. Third reading. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Sorry. Motion by Ms. Stavcek, second by Mrs. Bissell. Any comments or questions?
I did not receive any questions or comments from board members, aside from the one that's already been removed, but feel free to
Okay.
raise them now if there's anything else.
Hearing none, George, can you take the roll?
Ms. Stalchek?
Yes.
Mrs. Bissell?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mrs. Hausum?
Yes. Motion carries. Dr. Iba, miscellaneous timely information?
Just wanted to say thank you to our 35-ish folks that came out on Thursday night to participate in our community town hall. Great conversation, wonderful questions. Board has good direction in terms of what that feedback was. We're still compiling some of it, and we'll be sharing it out. As I put out in my update to the community and the parents and the staff, there's an opportunity to see the slides that were shared, offer similar feedback via that survey. And so that way, by August, the board should have a good compiled data set to inform the decisions on the components that may be a part of the May 2026 bond issue. So again, thank you to the people that came out on Thursday to participate and have their voices shared, as well as the people that will take the time to complete the survey over the coming weeks.
Did you put a deadline on that? I didn't.
I did not.
Okay, just.
But yeah, if by the end of the month,
Okay.
of next month, July month, yeah.
You have till midnight.
Yeah, right.
You can stay awake and wait for the
Yeah,
budget to come through.
right.
Thank you. I was able to be there, and it was an engaged group. It was nice for the questions and the comments and to get the feedback. So thanks for doing that. All right, Board of Education, other. Do we have any miscellaneous other for Board of Education? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to our meeting notifications. A regular Board of Education meeting work session will be held Wednesday, July 9th, 2025 at 6:15 PM for executive session, followed by public session at approximately 7 PM in the meeting room of the admin building, 18199 Cook Avenue. The annual board retreat will be held Wednesday, July 30th at 6:30 PM in the meeting room of the admin building, 18199 Cook Avenue, Strongsville, Ohio. Those are both open to the public. And next, we have the appointment of a treasurer pro tem for July 9th, 2025, because George will not be with us. Do
I'll
you
be
want me to
on
read it, or
vacation.
you want to read it, or you want me to?
I
The
can-
motion? I don't get it.
Motion to approve the appointment of Yanni Tiliakos, who's the current assistant treasurer, as treasurer pro tem for the July 9th, 2025 Board of Education meeting, due to me being on vacation that week.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Stavcek, second by Mr. Griffin. We'll miss you, George.
Yeah, I'll miss you guys too. I'll be thinking of you.
Right. You
You'll
take the
probably
roll.
Zoom in for the meeting, right?
Right.
You take the roll.
Ms. Stavcek?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mrs. Hausum?
Yes,
Mrs. Bissell?
Yes.
motion carries. Have a great vacation.
Thank you.
Next, we do not have need for executive session this evening, so we will conclude our meeting. I would like to,
If you'd like to add it, we can.
do you want to add negotiations? Okay, we do have need for executive session.
To review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
We will enter into executive session at approximately 8:40. We don't see reason to
We need
resume
to-
public session, so I'd like to wish everybody a good
We
night.
need to vote.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Stavcek, second by Mrs. Bissell. George, can you take the roll?
Ms. Stavcek?
Yes.
Mrs. Bissell?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
And Mrs. Hausum?
Yes.
And
Enter into executive session about 8:40. We do not see need to come back into public session. Have a great night, everybody.